Okay, so thank you very much, most venerable monks who are sitting here. And I am especially thankful to organizing committee of this, our Mahamukuta Buddhist University. And this is the first international conference which is being organized on this Buddhism and well-being. And I am also thankful to Professor Shivani Sharma, who contacted me to spare some time for this international conference. And I am thankful to our venerable Panu, who made contact through WhatsApp, and then I try to be here. So today on the topic, what Buddhism and well-being. As we know that if you go through the first statement after the first sermon at Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta at Saranath, what Buddha told that Charata Bhikkhave Charikam Bhajan Hitaya Bhajan Sukhaya Lokanukampaya Thai Dev Manusanamti. That here Buddha says that, oh monks, wander from one place to another place for the sake of welfare of the many people. So here Bahujan Hitaya and Bahujan Sukhaya, these two terms, and Lokanukampai, these three terms are very much our helpful for understanding of the Buddhism as well as holistic well-being. So after the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, which was delivered to the fivefold monks, here Buddha says that you have to wander for the sake of welfare of the many people, Bahujan Hitaya, Bahujan Sukhaya. So here there is a term Hit and Sukha. There are two terms which signify the well-being. So here Hit and Sukha. Sukha is the happiness, what we call it, for the happiness of there. What is happiness we'll discuss later on. So here Hit is a welfare, that is the lokalyana, that welfare of the all people. And here it is also said lokanukampai. So there is a term lok and anukampa. Anukampa is also that after seeing the suffering of others, if there is a shaking of the consciousness, there is a shaking of the heart inside that one is suffering from the pain or something like that. This lokanukampai athai dev manusanamti for the whole human beings and other things. So here, what is loka? Loko tu sansaro sansaro ti bhavshak parampara. Or another way, lok has been defined as lunjan palunjan athena loko. That arising and ceasing of anything is called as loka. In another way, that taking birth or dying is another name of the loka. That is the world. So lokoti sansaroti bhavchaka parampara, that has been said. So lokanukampa, here there are two terms, that is the seeing of the suffering of others, how Buddha preached the first sermon after getting enlightenment. And he was saying that all the people are suffering from pains and other diseases, how they can be elevated. So this term and Sukh is a name of another state of eternal bliss. Bahujan Hitaya, Bahujan Sukhaya. Here Sukh is another name of a state of eternal bliss, that is the state of Nibbana. That is a state of where there is total the cessation of the desire. That state is called as happiness or the nirvana. So Nibbana is a metaphor of two words, Ni and Ban. Everyone, you might be knowing about the term Nibbana. But here the Nibbana is getting a state of eternal peace, Santapadam, Parampadam, Sukpadam, whatever. There are so many names which have been discussed in our text. So the concept of well-being, is revolving around the Bahujan Hitaya, Bahujan Sukhaya. So these are the two terms related with all these terms. But coming to this, the text, Acharya Nagarjuna discusses about the law of dependent originations, that is the Pratitya Samruddhapad. And the law of dependent originations in the Pali text also discusses about the concept of well-being. We'll discuss that how Acharyas have discussed the concept of well-being in the law of dependent originations. As we know that law of dependent originations is the law of cause and effect. Everything is dependent on some cause and conditions. Whatever the things which are coming in our day-to-day life, they are dependent on cause and conditions. There is no self-independent entity. Everything comes dependent on some cause and conditions. So these are some of the things which are discussed in our Upali text also. It has been said, imasmu sati idam hoti, imasmu asati idam na hoti, imasu pada idam upajjati, imas nirodha idam nirujjati. That based upon this, there is the arising of this, and based upon if there is the absence of this, there will be no arising of this. Yam kinchi samuday dhammam tam nirodha dhammam dim. Whatever the things which are arising, they have to cease it. And there are 12 links of dependent originations. And based upon this, Acharya Nagarjuna has also discussed the law of dependent originations. And there are three aspects. That is the idam pratyayata, nisvabhavata, and praspara ashrayata, or dharma dhatutva. So these three aspects are related with our concept of well-being in our Buddhism. So how these three things have been discussed, I will discuss in a very brief word. That is the idam pratyata, that whatever the things which are arising, they are based upon the cause and conditions. Whatever the things which are coming, they are nothing but the whole things which are in the phenomenal world. They are based upon the 12 link of dependent originations, from the ignorance to till birth and death. And this is the gross aspect of our Acharya Nagarjuna describing the law of dependent originations. Second is nisvabhavata, that is the all things are essenceless. Whatever the things which are happening in our day-to-day, they are essenceless. And this character is called as a subtle aspect of the law of dependent originations. And the third aspect which Acharya Nagarjuna is discussing, this is called as dharma dhatutva, that universal coexistence and interdependence of all phenomena. So whatever the man, nature, and environment, we are seeing that how the things, how man, nature, and environment are causally dependent on each other. They have been discussed in our Tansakta Sutra, and this is called as Yatha Bhut Jnana or Yatha Bhut Drishti, that as they really appear through this law of dependent originations, one can have the knowledge that as they really appear, that all things are subject to impermanence, all things are subject to suffering, and all dhammas are subject to soulless. So this third aspect is dharma dhatutva, and that is the universal coexistence. There are four aspects of this dharma dhatutva, which has been discussed by Acharya Chandrakirti in Madhyamaka Avatar. And he says that there are four aspects of Dharma Dhatattva, that is the mutual dependence, coexistence, cooperation, and co-enjoyment. There are four aspects which have been discussed in under the aspect of Dharma Dhatattva. And these four aspects are discussing that how the people, man, nature, and environment are each mutually dependent on each upon, how they are mutually coexisting, how there is a coexistence, and how the things are And these four aspects are discussing the aspect of universal community, that how what we are talking about, that how the community aspect was developed by the blessed one Buddha, and how this concept of well-being was developed in the teachings of the Buddha in the law of dependent originations. So these had been discussed, and this concept of even if you see that how they are the coexistence, mutual dependence, or mutual cooperation or co-enjoyment, how they are removing the one aspect that is called as aham, that is the ego. Everyone has this ego is the we can say that this is the anusai, one of the latent factors which are associated with our consciousness, which are dormant in nature, and whenever they find time or opportunity, they become active. So these can be removed until unless we do not remove our ego, or that is the agham and aham asmim. And this there are two concepts which are coming in our Pali text, that is the man, abhiman, or atiman. These three terms, until unless we do not remove the concept of centricity of oneself, that how ego can be removed. So by following the four aspects of dharma dhatatva of law of dependent originations, that is the mutual dependence, coexistence, cooperation, and co-enjoyment, how these can remove the ego, that I am the superior one, no one is equal than me, everyone is inferior than me. This conceit can be removed by following these four aspects of our this. And again, further, the middle path, what we call as Majjhima Patipada or Madhyama Pratipada, which have a eightfold path, by following again in threefold what the venerable monks have presented their pairs, that is the three trainings, Seal, Samadhi, and Panya, morality, concentration, and right understanding or wisdom, how these are really helpful in social, economic, and political level. If you go through the aspect in the Sutta Nipat Atkatha, or in the text, one of the Khudak Nikaya text, that is the Sutta no Hunti Sabbe Satta Bhavantu said that everyone has has the quality of Buddha talks about that all, let all the beings be happy, be healthy also. Bhavatu Sabha Mangalam, this concept, when you go through that, how this, let all the beings be hale and hearty. So these concepts have been discussed in all the teachings of the Buddha, and how these have been discussed in our text, we have to follow it. So this, there are so many paths or teachings of the Buddha or the practices which have been discussed in our text to modify our consciousness, to purify our consciousness, how the all kleshas or the defiling factors which are associated with our consciousness, how they can be removed. Until unless we do not remove the our kleshas or defiling factors which are associated with our consciousness, we cannot do moral things. Professor Shivani was talking about the intention and attention. Buddha also talks about the intention and behavior. So if you go through the one statement of the Buddha, Chetana ham bhikkhave kammam badami, Chetitva kai kammam vachi kammam manu kammam. O monks, I call volition and as an action. And through this evolution, all physical, vocal, and mental actions are being performed. It is our consciousness through which all the manifestations are being performed by a person. Whatever we do, whether they are moral or immoral actions, they are being performed by our mind. So that is why it is said that chittam ti vichittam, that all the functions are being guided by our consciousness or mind. In Dhampad also we see that how the first verse, Manopuvangma Dhamma, that all things are being guided by our mind. Mind is the forerunner of all actions, whether they are moral or immoral. So all the intentions, whatever they are moral or immoral, they are being guided by our consciousness or the mind. So it is our duty to purify our consciousness. How we can purify our consciousness, how we can mold our behavior by following the kamathan which has been prescribed in the Visuddhi Magga. If you go through the third chapter, there are 46 kamathan. Out of the 46 kamathan, there are 10 anusati, which Professor Shivani was also discussing, that how remembering again and again. There are 6 main types of anusaranati. So remembering again and again how these the qualities of the Buddha, Dham and Sangha. Whenever we chant the Mangal Path, इतिपिसो भगवा अर्हा संबा संबुद्धो विद्याचरण संपन्नो सुगतो लोक विदु पुरुष धम्म सारथी इति सो भगवा. So there are 9 virtues or the qualities which we remember again and again. And in remembering again and again, we are purifying our consciousness. In the same way, what are the qualities of the Dhamma? Swakhato Dhammo, how it has been defined in the text, how we have to take aspects of the qualities of the Dhamma in our life in the same manner, how the qualities of the Sangha. So there are 10 types of Anusmriti which have been discussed also. And there is another aspect that nowadays it is Samatha Vipassana. Nowadays it has become more popular for purifying our consciousness. Samatha is the another name of calming down our mind. It is another name of Rupa Jhan and Arupa Jhan. So by concentrating our mind on the Rupa Jhan as well as Arupa Jhan, I am not going to discuss all these things. We can concentrate our mind on the objects as well as on the objects which do not have form and color. In that way, this is called as calming down mind. We are removing the 6 types of 5 types of nivarnas, which put obstacle in the path of concentrations, namely kama, chand, vyapad, tinimid, ujat, kukuch, and vichkitcha. And by this Rupa Jhana, we are concentrating. And then we are coming to the Vipassana, that when a Yogavachar or a person tries to concentrate his mind by that all things are subject to impermanence, all things are subject to suffering, all dhammas are subject to soulless. So anicca adi visesh pakarena passati ti vipassana. So through our seal, samadhi and panya, the panya is the medium through which we can get a state of that is the enlightenment. So vipassana, through which we can visualize the things, that all things are subject to anicca, dukkha, and anitta. So these things we can practice in our day-to-day life. There are other practices which have been also preached by the Buddha in the text, but due to lack of time, I stop here, and I congratulate the organizing committee, as well as I am thankful to the organizing committee, especially Fanuji and others for giving me a chance to speak on this occasion. Thank you very much.